Good evening. The grief the nation shares over this week's shooting massacre at the Fort Hood Army Post is being felt especially deeply in hometowns in virtually every corner of this country. The victims range in age from 19 to 62. They were fathers, sons, daughters, one a mother-to-be, and they were all serving their country. Late today at the post where they served, there was a somber roll call of the fallen.
Lieutenant Colonel Juanita L. Warman, 55, of Havre de Grace, Maryland. Major Lobardo Caraveo, 52, of Woodbridge, Virginia. Captain John P. Gaffney, 54, of San Diego, California. Captain Russell Seeger, 41, of Racine, Wisconsin. Chief Warrant Officer, retired, Michael Cahill, of Cameron, Texas. Staff Sergeant Justin DeCrow, 32, of Plymouth, Indiana. Sergeant Amy Kruger, 29, of Kiel, Wisconsin. Specialist Jason Hunt, 22, of Tillman, Oklahoma. Specialist Frederick Green, 29, of Mountain City, Tennessee. Specialist Kam Zong, 23, of St. Paul, Minnesota. PFC Aaron Nemelka, 19, of West Jordan, Utah. PFC Michael Pearson, 22, of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Private Francesca Velez, 21, of Chicago, Illinois.
Colonel John Rossi today formally naming the victims. Tonight, the accused shooter, Major Nidal Hassan, remains hospitalized as investigators try and piece together a possible motive. NBC's Mark Potter is at Fort Hood. He joins us now with the latest. Mark, good evening.
Good evening to you, Lester. The White House has announced that President Obama will come here Tuesday for a memorial service. This, as doctors here say, some of the wounded soldiers face long recoveries.
While local residents showed their support outside Fort Hood, doctors said many of the soldiers who were wounded in the shootings Thursday have gone home, and almost all are out of intensive care now. But some will face lifelong challenges.
There is a possibility that some of these patients will be physically impaired for the rest of their life, and there's certainly no doubt that many of them will be psychologically impaired for the rest of their lives.
Texas Governor Rick Perry visited some of the wounded.
What I heard time after time in those hospital rooms, that it's their honor to be able to serve our country. And that is a very humbling thing.
In Salt Lake City, the family of Aaron Nemelka gathered to eulogize the 19-year-old killed at Fort Hood.
He felt it was his duty to stand with them in the defense of our country. He was very proud to represent his family, his church of the state of Utah, and the United States of America.
Meanwhile, a senior FBI official tells NBC News that a search of Nidal Malik Hassan's emails, computers, and phone records has turned up nothing that would change the original assessment that he acted alone. Investigators also found no notes or videos left behind by Hassan. As the investigation into the shooting continues, a question has been raised about whether some of the victims were hit by friendly fire, given the number of wounds and shots reported.
It's difficult for me to conceive of one man, an inexpert man, wielding two pistols, changing magazines to fire 100 shots with nothing further happening.
The military, though, denies the friendly fire allegations. Amid concerns that Muslim Americans might now face a backlash, as seen on this sign outside Fort Hood, President Obama in his internet address spoke about the value of diversity in the military.
They're Christians and Muslims, Jews and Hindus and non-believers. They are descendants of immigrants and immigrants themselves. They reflect the diversity that makes this America. But what they share is a patriotism.
In the West Bank, Hassan's uncle said the alleged shooter is a disappointment to his family.
I'm glad that his mother, she's not alive, because otherwise I know what she will do because this is not her son.
And on behalf of Hassan's family, his uncle apologized to the people of the United States.
Now, among the recent visitors here, former President George W. Bush and Laura Bush, who quietly visited with some of the wounded soldiers here last night. Lester?
NBC's Mark Potter tonight. Mark, thank you. One of the wounded is a police officer who mustered not only her skills but also her courage to put an end to the gunman's rampage. Authorities say she was the first to fire on Major Hassan. NBC's Janet Shamlian now has the story of Sergeant Kimberly Munley, a fearless cop who many are calling a hero.
As the massacre at Fort Hood unfolded, many ran from the danger, but a petite mother of two ran towards it. Sergeant Kim Munley, a civilian police officer, was on her way to have her car fixed, heard about the shooting on a police radio, and drove to the scene. She exchanged gunfire with the suspect, ending the deadly attack when she wounded him.
I was not surprised. I was not surprised at all. She's trained to do exactly what she did, and she did it well.
Sergeant Major Martisha Williams visited her friend in the hospital, where Munley's recovering from gunshot wounds to her legs and wrist. As she does, the 34-year-old is being hailed as a hero.
This is a selfless public servant who we all should be thankful that we have people like that.
In Munley's quiet Killeen neighborhood, where houses sometimes sit empty during deployments, friends like Brooke Beta aren't all that shocked by their neighbor's courageous act.
Well, I mean, I'm surprised that it was her, you know, that I know her, but knowing her, I'm not surprised that she would do something so brave.
Beta's daughter Cassandra spent summer days playing with Munley's daughter Hope and says as great of a police officer as Kim is, she's an even better mother.
She'd be right there on the porch watching us.
She has a family, she has a husband, she has a child, and she wasn't thinking about anything but just, you know, doing the right thing.
Her bravery recognized not just at home, but online. A Facebook group called Sergeant Kim Munley is My Hero has more than 1,000 members. And on her Twitter account, in a bio written before the rampage, Munley said, "I go to sleep peacefully at night, knowing that I may have made a difference in someone's life." She did that for her former police officer partner. Munley's been credited with saving his life.
Kim's a ball of fire. She was an excellent patrol officer.
For all the praise coming her way for what she did here on Thursday, Kim Munley is telling friends, hero is a title she hasn't earned.
I said, you did a great job. You did a great job. And she said, I think I could have done better.
A woman who went willingly into harm's way, risking her life as she saved countless others. Janet Shamlian, NBC News, Fort Hood.
The tragedy at Fort Hood will be one of the topics on tomorrow's Meet the Press broadcast. Army Chief of Staff General George Casey will be among David Gregory's guests.